I just want to show you this really quick. This is my Optimus Prime Transformers Armada. This is a reminder that as, how do I put this? As tempting as it is on Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, as tempting as it is to buy gifts, sometimes this is a reminder that you have enough stuff. This is the best coffee table thing you could ever have. Now, you, if you were a child, you'd be playing with this all day long. But as a thing to take out and show people, show your friends on a coffee table, this is timeless. Once a year, just bring this out and show your friends. Anyway, that's enough of that. So I want to give an update to what happened with the Thanksgiving fucking dinner. I sent an email to Dreamcast 84. So Dreamcast 84, if you didn't read the email, please read the email. But I'll give you the details about. I'll give you lesser details because I'm doing this publicly. So I stated that my cousin had stage 4 cancer, and I would be going over there. And my mom, in her poor spelling and grammar, told me that the cancer was getting worse, and that I should go over there for Thanksgiving. Now, based on that, the assumption would be that because somebody has cancer and it's stage 4 and it's getting worse, you expect to see no hair, you expect to see a little bit of frail, you can barely move around. You're sick in bed, or you're just sick all around. Okay. And I remember when my dad had pancreatic cancer, he was sick as hell. He didn't lose his hair, but he was frail and he could barely talk and move and speak. That was horrible. And I remember when my brothers died. I remember when my mom threw herself on my brother's casket at his funeral. That was hard. Losing my brother to AIDS, that was a big fuck you, and that should not have happened. And based on the last Thanksgiving I had at my aunt's house, this is my aunt, this is my cousin, this is my mom's sister's daughter. Okay, so my cousin, my cousin Elba would be in her mid-50s right now. She's in her mid-50s right now. Okay, and based on my last encounter at my aunt's house, this was 2005. You had many people. My uncle was still, my uncle, my aunt's husband was still alive. Okay, so you had my aunt, you had my uncle, you had, let's see, you had the half brother and half sister. They were in their 40s or 50s. Well, actually, mid 40s at the time, or early 40s. Okay, so that's 4 people. And then you had my cousin before she had cancer. That's 5. And then you have my other cousin, her brother, who's a mechanic. And then you have their sister. And you have my cousin's husband. And who else? Their son, Ephraim, who has hemophilia just like me. Now he's 16 years old, but he was 3 at the time. Who else? I think my one of my cousins, the half sister and half brother of my cousin has kids of their own. So maybe 1 or 2 kids showed up. And then after that, there was, let me think, my cousin's in-laws. So my cousin's husband's in-laws. Now my cousin is of course divorced from her husband, and her husband is the guardian or the custodian or guardian of my second cousin. So it's a complicated family. The point is, there were like 15 people the last time I ever saw them in 13 years. Okay, a lot of people. And I go over there. Okay, now you're thinking, I'm going to go over there. My mom's going to be there. My sister's going to be there. That's also too. 15 people, including my mom and my sister, and then myself and my sister's daughter, my niece, who was 6 years old at the time. Now she's my niece is now, she'll be 20 years old next year. But these kids grow up fast, don't they? Time goes fast for us adults. And so I go over there. Okay, I'm walking. I mean, I go on my scooter. I take public transportation. I'm kind of pussyfooting it. I'm walking over there, and what ends up happening is I see 4 people. Okay, I see my aunt. I see my cousin, of course, who has the cancer. I see her brother and her brother's brother's wife. I think the wife was there in 2004, but she was not there in 2005. Something like that. It's basically when I went to my aunt's house in '04 and '05, it was like a fucking wedding. So many people were there. So I go there, 4 people are there. And I see my cousin, who's now in her mid 50s, and she asks me how I'm doing. Like, how am I doing? How are you doing? And I said, and I basically, my mom in her text messages said to me that only my cousin and her mom knew, and my mom knows she has cancer. But since it's stage 4 and my mom says it's getting worse, I said, well, the cat's going to have to be out of the fucking bag. We're going to have to talk about this. So I basically let her know that I knew about this. And she did nod her head. She said she has the cancer, but that it's in remission, that she's been going to see her doctor, that she's been going to, going for a chemotherapy. And she has her hair. What's going on? Not much. Same old, same old. I'm MGTOW now, but, making exceptions for 1 or 2 females. And that even then, they get this much out of me. You give them this much. You'll know when they want a mile. There's a difference between an inch and a mile. We as men know this. Some men don't want to be MGTOW forever, and some do. But thank you for joining me. So anyway, my cousin, she's healthy. She looks pretty healthy, and I'm glad she's not sick. Yeah, don't fall in the trap. I think the last trap I almost fell into was the one in it was Zeusk. Are you familiar with Zeusk? Yeah. I didn't expect anything from that blind date. I did that last year. She wasn't even that attractive. I mean, there's some attractive fat ones, okay? But even she wasn't that attractive. It wasn't worth keeping. So I said, nah, it's all right. And she had this one girl I dated, one woman I dated for once. She had this kind of scar on her breasts. It was like a big surgical scar. I can't get past that. But the only best part of that date was that she came all the way over here, and I didn't have to go much anywhere. So it wasn't. It was like the least amount of risk. So that's not so bad anyway. So the point is, I don't do Zeusk or iCupid or Tinder. It's a waste of time. So yeah, my cousin's okay. So the Thanksgiving dinner wasn't even worth it. The food looked like cafeteria. It looked like my aunt stole the food from a food bank or some sort of homeless shelter for the holidays. Took it, wrapped it, put it on the table. It didn't even look like anything, and it's ridiculous. It's all the good-looking ones. Yeah, the good-looking ones. I'll get into a little bit about this. I'm doing some artwork for somebody, but like I say, we'll see how that goes. And I'll quit at any time. I'm still going to do we'll get to that at the end as far as what I'm going to be doing for this channel. But my mom basically, in short, lied to me. She lied to me about the condition of her niece, of my cousin. She lied to me about it getting worse. How do I know this? Because my mom was not there, and neither was my sister. If the cancer was that bad, if my cousin didn't have her hair, if she was frail, you would think it's like a funeral. Like everybody would be there at the dinner, and kind of like vultures, right? But I think if you're going to do that, you'd be better off going to a dying dinner than a funeral, because at least that way you can talk to that person and tell them how you feel. It's not really so much about relationships, but in general. So the title of this is Becoming the Pariah. I have become the pariah of my family, which is directly connected to how a lot of MGTOW are. If we're going our own way, there's a big chance, and even Sandman said this, that your family is not going to speak to you. So I made a declaration after I realized my mom lied to me, because if you saw my video before, I have a video called my MGTOW Thanksgiving, which has the French connection. And basically, this is a burger place. If you live in Southern California, it's called John's Burgers. But basically, you get like fried chicken, you get French fries, you get onion rings, you get salad, maybe with ranch dressing, whatever you prefer. And you have garlic toast. And you just eat that while you're watching French Connection or something like it. Because when I went to that Thanksgiving on Thursday, I felt there is no connection between my cousin and me. And it's like it's fucked up because it's like, well, we don't connect. I don't see these people very often. When the planets align, I see these people and we may talk, but she kind of talks out like, "Oh, how are you doing? So what you doing? So what you been doing these days?" "Oh, okay." My cousin got my her mom, my aunt started on religion when my cousin Gabriel died. My cousin Gabriel was the one who was like verbally abusive. He tried to grab me and try to intimidate me and shit. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think much of my extended family. I don't think of much of my nuclear family. So that's it. I've become the pariah. So I've made a decision, and I want you to hear this carefully. No more family dinners, lunches, or breakfast ever again, unless it's my own family that I am dumb enough to create. Okay, and even then, having suffered the abuse of my pop and my mom, having suffered verbal abuse under my sisters, you can and even outside of this family, you can see why I'm MGTOW now. I am MGTOW now because of the circumstances that took me about 40 years of my life to realize. Now, part of me really wants to go against that. I guess for me, it's like here's the thing. This is another thing. Women have said hypergamy. Hypergamy is just another fancy word for conditional love. They set a bar this high. Let's pretend this is a high skyscraper. This is me even higher. You can't bullshit me. And that's just standing on one thing. They have these stacks of things. For me, you have to be physically attractive. You don't have to be model thin. You don't have to look like an actress or a model, but you should be attractive. If you have a few pounds, it doesn't bother me that much. If you look like a fucking hippo, too bad. I don't want to deal with you. You have to look and feel attractive for yourself, okay? You have to be able to be intimate. When shit happens, you have to be there. You have to be there for me. And you can't bullshit me. Okay? Those are the only things I ever asked for. And you may say, well, that's not a whole lot, but these women cannot do these things. They can't. Okay? If they'll bullshit, they're not attractive. Okay? They don't want to have sex with you. And what was the other thing? Oh, when stuff happens to you, but what if their needs are more important than yours? So that's the hard part. Yeah, conformity. I'll tell you what. It's no. What is dangerous? And I think there's a video you can watch this later where Tom Likas says, "Your friends and family hold you back." It's dangerous to learn outside of this family. Even though I have reservations about Mr. Likas after he defended Christine Ford for some idiotic reason. The man defends Gloria Allred and Christine Ford. I don't know why he does. Maybe he does have a girlfriend of his own. I just, I can't put a hero hat on any one particular person. What we end up doing is taking one from column A, B, or C, or D. I don't like to put the hero worship on one person. That's why Tom Likas is not that interesting as he used to be. But he does have some points, and I listen to some of those, but, I believe he has some democratic issues. I don't take political sides. I don't care. So because I think for myself and I think on my own, to do these dinners. Now, the thing is, my situation is grim, my living situation. I am unemployed. I do not have a real job. My mom pays for, she's the landlord, so she pays for most of this rent. I pay for a small fraction of the rent to just stick around. But these dinners felt, these family get-togethers felt like an obligation to stick around, to do whatever needs to be done, like just to stay here in this house. When my mom dies, she's almost 80 years old. Okay, that would probably be the time I leave, because my sister and I are not going to get along. My sister's almost 50. What's going to end up happening is my sister will get the property. She gets the title deed. Now, even though the law says she can't toss me out of the house, she may write her own will and take control, well, move into this house to not pay for two houses. In her mind's eye, she would not pay for two land taxes. The only reason she moved to Northern California from Southern California was because of my mom going to Northern California because of my other sister. So my two sisters are like this, fighting each other all the time and playing tug of war. But my other sister, my youngest sister, gave up that fight, so my older sister is the one that would get this house. But I think I would leave. I would leave whatever money I would have, a couple of $1,000s or so, and leave and not look back. Take whatever I can take and get out of there and end up being homeless. That's the scary part. Um, why don't I have a job? Because my father was a very abusive man. Not sexually. I keep saying this. I mean, to him, it was more important to mistreat your children with a razor strap and a belt or toss a shoe at them. Basically, your kids are your punching bags. If they talk out of turn, you give them one of these, right? That was the logic back then, especially if you were drinking. My dad drank for most of my childhood. And he kind of bullied me through most of college. He picked my college courses for me. It was hard. I finally, after all the blood, sweat, and tears and lies, I finally got through. Finally got through 4-year college, and you know, I got my bachelor's degree. I got my associate of arts degree. I got my high school diploma. So I'm not stupid. But unfortunately, when I tried to get a job interning, I was mistreated by Hollywood. I was mistreated by Hollywood companies. I tried to get a job in warehousing. I tried to get a job through unemployment for hemophiliacs, unemployment in general. I ended up working at McDonald's. I ended up working at Togo's. I ended up working at, ended up publishing my own book. I got into some trouble, some legal trouble that's going to stay confidential for now. I tried to go into acting. I did do theater. It was a horrible experience working in Hollywood, but it was mostly to flip off my dad, who didn't was trying to get in the way of doing what I wanted to do. He tried to control me like a child even after I turned 18, and didn't let me have my own stage name to be, basically Maestro Drake is not my real name, of course, my birth name. If I told you this, it would be too easy to find on Google search. You would find my house, and that would not be cool. You and I. As great as I love you all supporters, I don't want people showing up in my house. Not like that. So it was rough. I couldn't make friends, and I couldn't make friends in the industry. I couldn't make friends in high school, in junior high school. I was bullied all through school. So unfortunately, the things that happened to me as a child carried over to when I was a teenager, carried over to when I was in my young 20s to late 20s to early 30s, trying to publish my book, publishing two novels. Beer. Yeah. I don't know. These days I like most people. I talked to one guy. I won't say who he is, but he does have a drinking problem. But I tell him, just drink beer on the weekends, drink beer with dinner. Don't let it consume you. Like people with marijuana, if you're doing it on the weekends, it wouldn't be so bad. But some people do it too much, and they don't want to. They smoke too much pot. They don't want to do anything. It's hard to hang out with those people. I have my lazy days and my depressed days, but I don't want it to consume me. I exercise every day. I do my push-ups. I do my sit-ups. I do my arm stretches for my shoulders because my joints hurt a lot. I do my bicycles, leg stretches, sit-ups, everything. Every morning for like Monday through Fridays. And I do jogs on trails. But the point is that I've never been able to make friends. I got racially profiled by police. Yeah, it's hard. It's just. My dad was an abusive man when he was drinking. That's another reason why I don't drink like a fish. So, yeah, because of the situations I have, I just draw. I do my own project. That's why I have a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel because people want to assume they know me, and they do not know me. They do not know the person I really am. If I ever, God forbid, if I ever take my own life, or if I get hit by a car, if I get blown up in a bus, or if I get mugged and killed, or some other thing, I want these videos to remain, and I want people to know who I really am. What I'm doing now, since I don't have a real job, I even tried volunteering to get a job. There's always some asshole, some bitch who was competing with me to get the job of whatever was lined up. So I never get that job. The one job I would settle for was being a librarian. Now, even though librarians don't make that much money, it's a quieter job. It's much quieter. Got a motorcycle going on outside. Librarians have it better than those in fast food. It's quieter. I'm an author. I write books. So we have community things, turn in canned foods for like to pay off fines and all kinds of things like that. At least I would have taken that job over anything else if it came down to that. So what I'm focusing on now for my channel is videos like this, but also videos for stunt doubles. I'm doing once a week stunt double previews for movies. I'm doing, let's see, I want to show you. Yeah, this is the video that got no views at all. This is based on an actress, genuine human being so far, but maybe not. I'm going to do this for a while. This is Faye McCoy, or based on an actress's name. But I'm going to do this for a little bit. I'm going to do this once a week. If I get no views for this, or if I get thumbs down, I'm going to just stick it on Twitter. But she seems to be an exception to the rule of MGTOW. But, we just don't know. She just turned ripe. So she is 22 years my junior. So she has been an adult for about a month. But she's, like I said, she's been acting and modeling for years, but now she's an adult. But I guess from my perspective, why am I doing this for her and not somebody else? But the women, how do I say this? I put more faith in newly born adults than I do in the adults that are my age or a little bit younger, because they tend to be spoiled. When I see actresses like Rihanna or J-Lo is in a new movie, by the way. She's got to stop. All these actresses, all these models, all these well-to-do women, professional women, they could just be somebody you see across the street, and they put on a persona. Anchor women, most of these women that you see on the news, they get the job through Annenberg News on like USC, at USC campus. As long as you have good grades and you're pretty, even if somebody who looks like your mom could do the job better than the what's her name? What's that one? Leslie Lopez from Eyewitness News. If Leslie Lopez is not as qualified as your mom, something's not right. But pretty girls never starve. So I do have a soft spot for this kind of person here. But she's been in movies, so whatever. I'm just going to do that. But I'm going to do the stunt stuff also because this is the most respected stuff I'm doing now. Stunt doubles, stunt performers, utility stunts, movie stunts, TV stunts. All these people are in movies now, and we take them for granted, and that's why I'm focusing on that as well. I am also focusing on just like aspects of my life where MGTOW and TFL rules apply. Probably more TFL, because when you become a pariah, you're basically telling your family, look, I appreciate all that you've done. You put food on my table, clothes on my back, but now I think that I need to learn from other people. Because the thing is, my dad, let me say this about my dad. He died at the age of 58. I was 24, and this was about 16 years ago. But when he was 21, he gave up school for my mom to get married and have 6 kids. 3 of us are alive, 3 of us are dead. So half of this family is dead. But he gave up college. He didn't explain the whole story. He was never open. My mom would talk about his brother, how abusive he was. He would beat him up or call him a faggot, because my grandmother would dress him up like a little girl when she was about 4 or 5, until my dad had to start kindergarten. That fucks you up a lot. So he went back to college in his late 40s, early 50s, when he was about to get laid off at McDonnell Douglas. McDonnell Douglas was a big company with aerospace, and whatever Boeing is doing now, that was McDonnell Douglas. And he went to finish school. He got college degrees. He got magna summa cum laude, which is a big achievement, right? Gold sticker stars, achievements all around. But as I got out of college and I realized it's not how many degrees you get. Some MGTOW will say don't go to college, it's a waste of time. You only go there for the mental training, and you only go there to get different perspectives on college campuses. Though these days, college campuses has become a meme for think our way or get off campus, as Milo and Jordan have learned. But Jordan's a tough guy, so Jordan will stand up to a lot of people on campus. Um, Anita Sarkeesian's dropped behind the wall, the curtain. Well, she went back behind the curtain actually. So yeah, it's scary, but it's when you go out to the real world. That's the real college. And the one teacher who was gay was the one teacher I learned a lot from, which was when you have media and news, they will always lie to you. They will tell you one perspective or another. So, it's just you got to look at things from different angles. It's very easy. I'll give you a recent example in the case of Alabama, where the police shot and killed a black man, a black army soldier. Um, Whereas the news said that they shot the shooter and killed him dead. Somebody was going to shoot a whole bunch of people and kill him. Now they made a mistake. Oops. And there's a lot of virtue signaling about racism and stuff. You can never prove that cops are racist in a court of law. They'll always say, "Oh no, no, we love all kinds of people." They can say that in court, but you never. But ultimately, it's about the incompetency, and while it's very easy to blacklist or whitelist groups, the many based on the few. It's much better and much smarter to uh, basically just look at the smaller groups or the individuals, and that's what I do. Okay, I think family get-togethers done right. I think marriages done right, though it takes a lot. Okay, there are very very few marriages that I ever see that ever work. I remember I saw one couple, that an Asian couple, they were kind of fondling each other. And they told me, like, kind of cute fun, like, oh, how's it going? And they've been together for 20 years, and they were in their late 40s or mid 40s. I said, okay, that's the blue moon, okay, but that's not everybody. Of course, TV would say, look at this cute couple. They've been together for 20 years, and they're kind of hot for each other. Isn't that great? Like, well, that's not. Most people get married because their mama shakes their finger at them, and their papa shakes their finger. It's like, where are those grandkids? Or you see people peer pressure, and you want to do what their friends are doing. If you look at Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods, as I think Tom Leykis said this on MySpace, long time ago, that Tiger Woods had gotten married and he got into the trouble he got into because he was pressured, I think, by family, to be a star at a very early age. And then when he got older, then he got married, but he was unhappy. You look at all these women he had to go and have sex with behind his wife's back. So and as Paul Joseph Watson said, yeah, because of the internet, because of social media, it's way harder to just be with one person uh, and say, this is it for me. So even I may be doing stupid things right now, but I have to believe, based on my history and what I've done before, and I said to myself, I'm not going to make the same exact mistakes. And if I do, I will admit to them and move on. So that's why I'm not going to do these family dinners. If my family wants to see that I'm physically okay and living in this house while they live in Northern California, while my mom is the landlord, that's fine. She's entitled to do that. More than welcome. Okay. But fuck these dinners, fuck these lunches, fuck these. They're hostage dinners. Okay. You're sitting there and you're quiet and you don't know what to say. Everybody's narcissistic. Remember I told you what narcissism is worth, okay? And you're dealing with these people and you're not happy. You're not happy at all. You're miserable. And it's the same thing even if you get married. 98% of the time, 99% of the time, you're miserable, okay? I think of the one that got away from me. I think of another one. But everybody else is full of shit. And I gave up online dating as late as summer of 2017. And I said, I'm not going to do online dating. I may talk to girls, in person, casually walking by. I don't go to nightclubs. I don't go. I don't go to exclusive. I don't do Match.com. It's too much work. That's more for females. Let them go and find the males. Let the white knights go and do it. I can't do it. So I think let's see. I'm not sure what time it is. I think it's going to be 7 or whatever. If it's 6, 7 o'clock, I'm going to watch Arrow at 8 because they have some stunt people. Eli Zagaudakis, Eli Zagoudakis is the stunt coordinator for the episode of Arrow. So he's going to be directing a lot of the stunts. Stephen Amell does a lot of his own stunts, so I'm going to be watching for that. I'm going to work on some of the comic strips for this female here. I'll tell you her first name is Mackenzie, but she's not an attention whore, so that's a good thing. But who knows? She may turn into one. The last celebrity I ever had a crush for, she cheated on her boyfriend with a married man. That should tell you the MGTOW sob story right there. So I'm going to continue working on this stuff. I'm going to do stunt double previews on Thursday, and any more MGTOW up my asshole live videos I'll continue to do. If there are any questions you have for me before I go, I'll wait a moment. But other than that, I'm gonna just sign out. I'm gonna have, what am I gonna have? Roast beef and potatoes. This is the other thing I did on my videos too about MGTOW, is that it's great when you can cook for yourself. It's great when you can eat for yourself. Nobody to micromanage your stuff, though my mom used to try to do that to me a lot. And so 1 week I cook dinner, 1 week I have Japanese food, 1 week I make sandwiches, another week I get just takeout. I go all out. So living by myself for the last 8 years has been a blessing. I almost got married to a trailer trash girl who liked sex too much, and I'm glad I did not, because most of my family cannot handle marriage, except for maybe my cousin when I saw him and his wife. But that's because she doesn't hit him over the head every time he does something stupid. She's very patient. That's the other thing. You got to be patient with your men, ladies. If any females who watch this video, be patient with your men. And if you don't like anything he does, walk out. Don't sit there and complain. Some of us will end up being in relationships, but we hope we can drive off the cliff the moment we see a cow on the road. Anyway, peace out and love, and thank you all so much for tuning in. The 1 or 2 people, or plus any more, and see you all Thursday.